Good morning, everybody. Today's Thursday, June 4th. We're here for a work session, and before we begin anything else, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Rothwell, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, Supervisor. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have just a few announcements today, or a lot of announcements. Tonight is our fourth before the fourth at Grangeville Park, starting at 5 p.m. We hope you'll join us for a backyard party. It's going to be a great time, and it's free to be there. And we have a lot of great stuff going on. The Chamber of Commerce has worked on that extremely hard. Also, we're still accepting applications for our 4th of July Grand Parade, and we have the fireworks that night later at South Jamesport Beach at 9:30. Hoping everybody can celebrate our country's 250th birthday. Do we have any other announcements right now?
Yes, just to remind everybody that the CAP March is tomorrow morning at Pulaski Street School. It starts at 9 a.m. Please come join us and celebrate the children and being drug-free and alcohol-free. Also, I wanted to let everyone know, and Joe, I'm glad you're here. Next, the following Saturday, June 13th, the composter pickup is happening. And where's the location again?
On Young's Ave at the yard waste facility.
That's from 9 till 12 p.m. And Duck Pond Day is also on June 14th. That's Sunday. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else?
Yes. The tractor pull is tomorrow at the Antique Power Association. If you've never been to one, they're fun, they're great. And have you ever been to one?
No.
Oh, you should go. It's fantastic.
Up on Sound Avenue, right?
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday?
It's the 6th.
That's Saturday.
It's going to be a great time. Ms. Pulaski?
Yes. So we're excited to announce through the Beach Committee that there will be live music on June 25th, Thursday night, from 6 to about 7:30. Clerk Jim Wooten is sponsoring a 60s band to come. This is a free event, so bring down your lawn chair, and the concession stand will be open. And it will be a wonderful night. So I hope to see everybody there.
Thank you very much. A couple more things. Just June 7th, we have our recreations at Stotsky Park. It's our pitch, hit, and run at 10 a.m. at Field 1. And we want to make sure we say good luck to Riverhead sophomore Madison Marshak at the New York State Championship Tournament this weekend at Wildwood Country Club in Rush, outside of Rochester. She'll be participating for golf for the state championship, which is absolutely incredible. We always encourage all of our young athletes. So with that in mind, we'll go right into our open session today. And we have first item, our only item, is Mainspring Energy, matters surrounding possible natural gas conversion for electrical services here at Town Hall with Councilman Rothwell and our engineer TESTA.
So just as an opening, one of the things that obviously I think many of the board members have been looking forward is to trying to find ways. Our ultimate goal is to save taxpayer money, to whatever we can do, to lessen our budget each year and pass those savings on to each and every one of our taxpayers. And so we've been diligently working on different ideas. I had the opportunity to sit down with Walt Jordan a few times, and he has a very interesting plan to go forward that could potentially reduce a great reduction in services here in Town Hall. For this particularly pertains to our electric costs, as well as potentially using it on other town sites, such as to reduce the electric costs over at the ice rink as well. And so we can kind of listen to his presentation. He's got lots of numbers for us today. The numbers look great, and we wanted him to sit down with our town engineer, Ken Testa. I know that he's had an opportunity to meet with them and discuss it. But this is on a large-scale event to reduce. If we reduce our electric costs, then we pass that savings on to each and every one of our taxpayers. So that's the ultimate goal here. So Walt did a great presentation, so I'll let you proceed.
Hey guys, Walt Jordan. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for DGen Energy Partners. Quick background on DGen: we are the largest rooftop solar contractor in the country. We're the 43rd largest roofing contractor in the country. And me personally, I'm the ICC license holder for DGen. Got 25 years of roofing and power generation experience, multiple award-winning contractor, and several certifications up and down in the construction and the energy space. So before I get started, I thrive on y'all's interaction. So if you want to interrupt me, blurt it out. knock me off my axis, ask me questions, jump in immediately. I don't know y'all's business like you do, and I may say something that doesn't mean anything to me, but it resonates with you. By all means, join me and participate with this, and ask the questions as we go forward. So, with that, I'm going to jump in. So what we're talking about today is we're talking about linear generators, and these are cutting-edge technology, revolutionary, it's as cool as the other side of the pillow. That's the easiest way to put it. And so I'm going to give you a quick demonstration, then I'm going to walk through just a little bit of it, but here's how they work. Take what you know, what you think of when you think of a diesel generator, a backup generator. You got one sitting right on the other side of that wall over there, and throw all that in the trash. Forget it. A lot of moving parts, a lot of emissions, a lot of noise, the black smoke that comes out of them, right? This is not that. This is absolutely nothing to do with that. So the way these generators work is they have two oscillating pistons inside of them, and they compress multiple fuel sources that can run these, and they compress at 13 beats a second to create power. And when they pull back from the compression, that's what makes the DC power. I'm going to have a video for y'all that I'm going to show you here in just a second, but they make hardly any noise. The emissions on them are literally next to nothing. I was visiting with a tech last week in California, had a homeless man, took a cardboard box, put it around the exhaust to keep him warm, and had been living underneath it for a couple of weeks with the same cardboard box to give him a little bit of heat for warmth. But there's no heat to them, there is no flame, there is no so any of the things that you're used to in a rotary generator or in your car for that matter, there's no spark plugs. None of those things are included in this. So I'm going to go to the video here, if y'all can see it. So a couple things here, and this is why this becomes cutting edge technology. This generator runs full time. This is on 24/7. So there is no downtime for bad weather. There is no downtime for snow. This is in the Lathrop Irrigation District in California. This is a town, and it is raining. I took this video last week, so pardon my edits. I didn't get to get all fancy and get AI into my video to make it look better. But this is our video here. Let's see if it will play. Hey Justin, can you help me? I want you to listen to my feet.
Just having a normal conversation. Mainspring in the wild.
You can hear me walking on that gravel, and these 10 generators are on at full speed.
Way over there. 10 generators.
For what they look like. So you get an idea of what they look like. That's the noise level. And then these 10 generators are powering 4,200 homes. So that entire subdivision is powered by those generators right there. The emissions,
Wait. So what, just as we go forward, so we are being completely removed from the PSEG grid in terms of...
in theory, yes. In theory, the answer to that is yes. However, PSNG becomes your redundant backup.
Backup plan, but for primarily all of our sources coming from the generator.
That's correct, yes.
It runs on natural gas.
It can run on natural gas. It can run on hydrogen. There's a hydrogen fuel cell going in of this particular product at the North Shore Power Plant. NYU Lagone at the East Patchogue new construction location is using this technology to power their hospital. So there is assets pretty heavily in New Jersey as well with this particular project as well. So one of the things to point out is that the emissions from this are next to nothing. And I mean that very clearly. And to put that into a layman's perspective, if you take a gas cooktop stove and you boil water in your kitchen, you're going to make more emissions in your house, which is perfectly fine, but they're going to make more emissions boiling that pot of water than you are with my machine making 250 kilowatts. So it's a fantastic set of technology in the way that it works. And what I've done today is I've put together a pro forma and some projections as they pertain specifically to the town. And then the M&T Bank that y'all own that's next door as well. So you'll be able to offset the power usage for both buildings. We've talked to PSNG, and there's a plan there where we can use the power that's generated here to run both meters, and an offset from that perspective. So just a couple of layouts here. So this is what you can see in that little picture there, that's the inside of the machine.
So we also own another building over here.
Yes,
Okay, so you're aware of that.
I'm aware, but I don't have the power bills on that one.
Okay.
But we can offset that one too with this genset. So if there's 3 or 4 meters here in this little block that you guys have, we can add to that and offset those additional power bills. I'm going to show that here in a second. It'll make sense when I kind of come full circle. But I'm a lover, not a fighter. You want to put more on it, I'll put more on it for you. I'm happy to do that.
But just to clarify, because you're showing 10
Yes.
units, we're really needing potentially 1, right?
Just one.
So
That's
that's
what I was
obviously
asking.
doing a whole township, but this is 1.
Yeah,
For this building and the M&T Bank.
that's correct. And the generator would only be running at about a 60% capacity for the power demands between the 2 buildings. So there's room to add to it.
Is there a distance limitation? Like, would we be able to, we have our police headquarters about, I don't know, a little over a mile away.
So, as you saw from the video, we run it underneath a lake from a distance perspective to power those homes. Potentially that could be an option, but in the path of least resistance, we would do a net metering with PSNG and put the excess power back on the grid that you would receive credits for, and then they would credit that to the statement for the police station.
So to clarify with the public, then that would mean that if we're working at 60% for the 2 buildings, we have the potential of selling 40% of the electricity we're making back into the grid.
You would sell it, but it would go directly to other town assets for the offset.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct. So, just real quick in this picture here, so this is only half of a generator that you're looking at in that picture. So that's the oscillating piston that sits inside of them. These things are the size of a shipping container, so there's 2 of them in there. So there's 2 engines. They're 125 each to make 250 kilowatts. And so what's great about these is you're never down. So we have to maintain these regularly, and that's part of the cash flow and the pro forma that's in there. But we take one side down, we slide it out on a rail, change out the graphite rings, push it back in, black start it back up, turn off the other side, slide it out, change out those rings, push it back in, and fire them both back up. So
You don't lose electricity during that process.
you don't. You are blowing and going. So, all right. Well, let's dig in a little bit further here. Let's look at the numbers on this and to why this makes sense. So this is the location where we can place this, equipment, and it's just right over this wall. It sets up perfectly. You've got a very large gas line that comes into the building. I would neck that down to 1 inch to connect to my machine, 1.25 inches, I think, actually. The electrical service for the facility is right there on the corner. So it would lay in there perfectly. It's like, I couldn't ask for a better place to put it.
And it's next to our current diesel power backup generator that's already there, so we're already utilizing that space.
Yep, that's correct. So it would become, your diesel generator no longer would be your second line of defense, it would become your third line of defense. So whereas a diesel generator is an idle asset that produces no ROI, they're set to run for 200 hours a year. That's about the max they can run. My generator runs 200 hours of testing before it's shipped to you. It's a fantastic product. So, all right, annual production is going to be a little over 882 kilowatts. The capacity is it's a 250 kilowatt generator. So it's 1 mainspring linear generator is required, is what we need. Currently, right now, between the 2 buildings, the town's average monthly utility spend is a little over $18,000 for electricity. The LGen deployment, you would reduce that cost from $18,000 down to $4,237. So it's a huge jump. It's equipped with a performance guarantee. So unlike solar, unlike batteries, unlike diesel-powered backup generators, you get a guarantee from Mainspring that for the next 20 years it's going to produce at the level that it is intended to do so. It is projected to generate over $1 million in positive cash flow over the next 10 years, and the internal rate of return is a little over 20%. Project cost is $1,310,000, but it comes with a direct pay incentive. So I know everybody, especially in this part of the world, you guys are familiar with the IRA and the tax credits that come with solar and things of that nature. Well, those are all sunsetting on the 4th of July. This is not sunsetting. This is part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. This technology was included in there. So it has a 30% tax credit that is attached to it that is good until 2032. And with that, I understand that the town is tax exempt, right? But in the world of the incentives, the direct pay is the avenue that you go down in the same breath. So when you're talking about tax credits, if you're a for-profit entity, you get the tax credit, right? If you are a tax exempt entity, you go down the path of direct pay. The percentages work the same. So if it was a tax entity, you get a 30% tax credit. If it's direct pay, you get a 30% direct pay incentive, which is a check from the Department of Treasury.
So out of that 1.3 million, let's say 393,000, we're getting credit back.
That's correct.
Okay. So I just would like to ask Teresa, Teresa, do you know what our current yearly electric bill is?
I do not, but I can find out.
Building?
Yeah, you,
It averages like 18,000. We were looking yesterday, 18,000 a month. In the summer, we get up into the $20,000 range because of the air conditioning, and in the winter, it drops down 12,000, 13,000. I think the average is about 18, as the gentleman was saying.
It's somewhere between $215,000 and $220,000 a year.
That includes the bank next door.
That includes the bank next
It
door.
does not include our auxiliary building over here, which we can add on it as well, so we potentially even more savings.
That's correct. That's correct.
just out of curiosity, I don't, because I don't know I saw the dimension. I don't know what the dimension is, but is it possible to run that machine north-south as opposed to east-west if we were to take it, behind that building?
I'll put it wherever you want.
Now, the reason why I ask is because, there'd be no parking for that building. You wouldn't be able to get into the parking lot. That's all. No big deal.
Well, there's no parking.
There's no park in the rear. It's next to the house behind us, I believe, next to the current generator.
Yeah, no, I know, but we were going to have, you could get a couple of cars in there is what I'm saying, even with that unit. That's with both units.
But it can essentially go by the loading dock here.
I don't need a fence around it unless you want one.
We need fences.
I can put it wherever you want, is what it boils down to, and I'll directionally turn it how you want to.
Okay.
And I can even logo it up and put Town of Riverhead on the side of it.
Well, we even said earlier when we were initially talking about placement, worst case scenario, a little further away, but we can always go to the end of the parking lot out there, and put it out there and say, so where some of the spots are not being utilized.
Right.
It's available
But
space.
essentially, it takes up where it sits is one parking space.
Oh, okay.
But I need 2 parking spaces because I've got to have clearance to get in and out of the unit to work on it.
So another question, I'm working on getting some electric car chargers.
Okay.
Right, in this parking lot and a couple of other places. Would this power those or not?
Does one-legged duck swim in a circle?
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, funny, not funny, but it is funny, right? Amazon got in some public hot water a little bit for all of their vans that are these new electric vans, right? Well, if you pulled up to some of their sites, they have standby generators recharging. all of these electric vans so they can make their deliveries, because they didn't have the power consumption to do it. So with the size of this generator and the way we have it sized, we can add on, if you wanted to add 10 or 15 car chargers, right? And interestingly enough, if you've got, and I'm going to use somebody in a home because we can all resonate with our house, right? You've got an electric bill, it's $200-300 a month, whatever the case may be, and you go get a Tesla, or you go get a Rivian or electric vehicle, whatever. Your power cost will double by adding that electric vehicle that's there, right? So,
Do you power data centers?
yes, sir.
I'm real curious about that because of all the
I would love to have a data center conversation with you.
Yeah, that's a separate conversation. I don't know why that's, you know.
Focus on our savings here.
No, I asked for,
Yeah, so here's, and let me hit on the data center piece for just a second. This is really important, right? Because I know this is a hot topic in Albany right now, right? And everybody's scared of them, right? So y'all have a very, very important resource that's here, and it's your aquifer for how the people get the water to their homes and the water source that you guys depend upon here on Long Island, right? And so there are circular types of cooling agents that can be used where they don't have to pull water from it. You can power a data center with my machine where it doesn't affect the electrical grid, and they will pay for it. So if you can have those two elements where they're not using water and depleting the local resources, and they're not putting any extra demand on the grid from the power consumption, it makes a lot of sense because they have what's called throughput. And so to put that into a layman's term, if you have your iCloud, your Microsoft Cloud, your pick a cloud, right? You pay $20 a month for storage or whatever that is. That money is considered throughput that goes into the data center, and that is a tax revenue generating piece for the town, if it were to be considered from that perspective.
and I'll have a separate conversation
Yeah.
with you on this.
Yeah, but yes, very familiar, because in the world of data centers, there's Texas and then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
And they're putting these data centers, when I tell you in the middle of nowhere, they're in the middle of nowhere. And so,
For the public, we're not talking about data centers.
yeah, just FYI, but yeah.
Okay, that's why I say, let's save it for another
We'll
day.
table it for another day, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so back to you guys. Right now, currently, what we're looking at here is a net utility savings of $153,000 annually. It's a monthly average of a little over 12.
Is that hypothetical, or are those based on our actual bills?
Those are based on your actual bills, yes, sir, absolutely.
So when we did work with the town engineers department, and we did present them copies of our electric bills, because I said to them I wanted real numbers, not hypothetical. So we actually did take all our PSEG bills and send it to him to evaluate so that we can come up with some clear, precise numbers.
So, right now, y'all have it's called your levelized cost of energy. It's your LCOE. So that includes your demand charges, your standby charges, all of the charges that come on the electric cost, right? Like 24.5 cents is what you are spending in your levelized cost of energy currently right now. With the implementation of this machine, you would go down to 6 cents. So the repayment period on this particular site is 6 years, and that's not including any of your other facilities that you could potentially power, or including increases in cost of power, which are coming.
And your warranty is what? How many
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah. So gas lines readily available. This is easily accessible. I look at a lot of sites. I visit with a lot of different people. Y'all have like one of the absolute, like perfect, like I couldn't paint a better picture. It's already fenced in. You've got gas. You're right there next to the meter. It's peas and carrots to make that thing work right there. It's easy. So.
You parallel to the grid? I mean, when you work with PSC&G, are you paralleling with them?
Yeah, it's grid forming. So we have to do an interconnection agreement. So let's talk about that. That's a fun conversation. So the generator has a UL 2200 rating. That's the highest rating that a standby generator can have. And that's how it's recognized from an AHJ standpoint. It also has what's called a Tier 4 final. which is the highest emissions rating that a generator can have. Well, this blows all of that testing out of the water. Like it supersedes above and beyond. It is an easy speed to power process. So we can install, get permitting, get interconnection. It's fast. It's very fast. Unlike solar, unlike batteries, there's not a bunch of red tape here that we have to work through. This is a simple cash flow projection for y'all to see here. So cash flow wise, you're looking at a total over the course of 20 years of roughly about $3 million in additional cash flow. So,
Savings.
Correct.
To the taxpayers.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's impressive numbers.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about another one. Here we go. We've got the ice rink here, Veterans Memorial Park. So what I've done with this one is there's 3 meters on that site. Y'all have got the ball field lights, y'all have got the ice rink, you've got some other ancillary things that are on there, but you got 3 different meters. So we would connect to the main meter that runs the ice rink, and then offset for the other ones that are there. And the numbers on this one work out a little differently. So the average monthly spend on this one is a little over $24,000. So the annual production is going to be 1.4 megawatts. And you're starting to reach that threshold on this generator where it's getting ready to tap out for the maximum that it can go.
For one generator.
For one generator, that's correct. So anytime you get to 2 million, or you get to 2 megawatts, 2 million kilowatts, you're reaching the annual capacity for what the production of the generator can do. So you're getting pretty close there, but you've got a little room to add on things. So if you needed to add car chargers out there, if you needed to add, another site or whatever the case may be, you've got the capacity to do that. So the cost of the utility spend is a little higher than it was here at City Hall, and the reason for that is you're going to use more natural gas to power the machine. Same thing, 20-year performance guarantee. It's projected to generate $1.5 million in positive cash flow to taxpayer savings over the course of the next 10 years. And then the internal rate of return on this one is 26%. So we have a really nice model here that can generate some good cash flow. Same concept, $393,000 direct pay incentive that is there. Estimated monthly savings are a little over $17,000 a month for the power. And then levelized cost of energy. Again, you got a little cheaper rate over there. That one's at 24, not 24 and a half. And then your levelized cost of energy after the generator implementation is a little over 6 cents. So a couple different things here. This one's a little bit more challenging. You do not have natural gas there that is on site. So I've done some homework on this and done a little background on this. I put an application into National Grid to find out what it would cost to bring natural gas to the site for this facility. You've got a rough estimate cost of about $800,000 to bring natural gas to the facility. You're 4,100 feet away.
So now, discussing on that, towards the installation of the gas lines, we would have, and we have not, for the record, I've not spoken to our biggest neighbor there is Calverton National Cemetery across the street. And we have not, spoken to them, but potentially if we bring in, this could be something that, we could at least reach out to those surrounding bits like Calverton National Cemetery if they wanted to do an Eternal Flame and other projects like that on the National Cemetery site. It might benefit them to bring in natural gas, which would mean that we could certainly split the cost with them or work with the federal government and our congressmen towards bringing that natural grid gas line, towards down 25 to potentially reach the Calverton. So these are all in preliminary, but that does have the potential, with the gas line going in to serve multiple parcels within the area, and I think that would be, something we can have conversations with our neighbors across the street. And then even if somebody else wanted to go a little bit further, we have the Stony Brook incubator and so forth, things like that, other, projects that could eventually benefit in the long run as well.
Correct.
And so there could be a sense of teaming up as well.
It's a good point. I wonder where they're getting their gas from right now, but that's a different issue. The incubator. So how many feet is it again?
4,100 feet.
Now, also for the general public knows that our obligations at the ice rink are, a little over $150,000 a year. So this would be something that we could potentially work with our licensing agreement with Pekanakaki. And again, I have not had discussions with them, so it's all preliminary, but we would have the potential to possibly renegotiate. The long-term goal would be to remove us from having to cover those long-term electric costs up there. And then we could use the savings. So if we make an agreement with them, there's different, from what I understand, there's two different ways. Either A, to buy the unit out front and then immediately start collecting on the savings, or I believe you have a financing program where they can actually have the site delivered, attempting to remove us from those electric costs as soon as possible. And then they're just, using the savings to pay for the unit over financing over time.
That's correct. So I've got that in there.
A little bit.
Yeah, so I can do a 7, 10, or a 12-year equipment lease on the project. It's got, I sent back for some numbers on the ice rink, so it comes back to about 12 grand. So the savings gets cut in half, but the town would put no CapEx up to fund the project. That number does not, so just to give a little color on the natural gas, I put the application in 2.5 weeks ago. I got a back of the napkin number from John over at National Grid yesterday. So that's why these aren't in my presentation. I wanted to make sure you guys got that on Monday. I just didn't have the numbers yet. So we could potentially put the $800,000 cost to bring in the natural gas into the finance option in the 7, the 10, and the 12-year piece, and add that cost in there. So, and that would be attractive to the financier for this, because that 30% tax number, they're going to take it as a tax credit. So you would lose the tax credit piece to it, or the direct pay incentive, because they're going to capitalize on that from their investment for investing in the cash. They're going to capture 30%. So that makes the number bigger, makes it more attractive to the team from the finance piece of it. So that's a piece that you could potentially fund the entire gas line with the generator there at Veterans Memorial Park. So
now we could sit down with our financial administrator, Jeanette, and really take a hard look at the numbers. So we did have a conversation about early retirement incentives, things like that. But when you look at it, we did do very well in terms of investing our fund balance. And so some of the things we got to look at is what's the best way and the methods towards directly saving the taxpayers' money. So if it's beneficial for us to purchase one up front, like for Town Hall, to have it installed, and we immediately get those savings and they're immediately in next year's budget, that's actually, to me, that would be a useful tool towards taking a fund balance and then immediately transferring savings over to the taxpayers, or again, potentially funding it over a long period of time. It's going to be about what's in the best interest. The numbers got to speak for themselves towards what's in the best interest for our taxpayers.
So a knee-jerk reaction, right? It's just like buying a car, right? You pay cash for a car, that's going to be your best deal, right? Same scenario here. You pay cash for it, it's going to be your best deal. However, if you want to finance it, there's still significant savings that are there, and you don't have to take the risk. But you're investing in yourself if you're going to go that route. That's a good place to bet on when you're betting on yourself.
What's the interest rate on that?
It's not an interest rate. It is not an interest rate. So it's an off-balance sheet transaction. So what they're doing is your levelized cost of energy, call it 6.5 cents. They're going to charge you for the power produced from the generator 7, 10, or 12 years. And so you'll go to somewhere around 12 to 14 cents is probably where you'll go. So there is no interest rate. That's how that works. So they're charging you for it's basically a new utility is what it boils down to.
Understand, at Veterans Memorial Park, we would have to obviously install the National Grid lines, and that's the lead time on there. What is the construction timeline? If this is something that we confirmed and we know we're saving the taxpayers money, how long does it take? Do these units have to be ordered, built? What's the turnaround time?
Great question. So,
Is that for the town hall?
For town
versus-
hall, yeah, like, because being that the gas is already here,
Yes.
we, according to you, would essentially be ready. But is this something you got to order this unit? It takes time, delivery? What are we talking about?
so when we talk about that, the actual installation, 2 days, maybe 3. We may have to add a concrete pad for it out there. The unit weighs about 20 tons, but it's 2 or 3 days. It's an
Let's give the concrete some time to cure.
Yeah. But we do that before, right? We want to go 18 to 20 inches thick, but you've got a slab out there. It may be blacktop. I'm not sure.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so
Blacktop.
we may have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a quick question we were talking about the bank and their expense. We don't pay the bank's bill, do we? I believe they pay their own bill.
But we don't, but we can sell them the electricity essentially, so rather than, if we promise them the same, the thought process was if we promise them the same rate, so we're not raising their rates, but if they're going to know that they're paying the same, and instead of them writing the same dollar check to PSEG on a monthly basis, they're writing it to Riverhead Town Hall and we're providing the power for them, then what we're doing is we're making money off of the power that we're selling to the bank. And the bank doesn't lose anything, they're paying the same.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that, because I didn't think we could act as a utility and sell power back to.
I was just about to say, Ken, you wouldn't act as a utility. You would just restructure it in your lease agreement.
Yeah, we'll have to, I'll put it in the lease, yeah. you gotta do that.
Why wouldn't we
Yeah.
try to add on some of our other assets, like Stotsky Park?
You can do both.
So just don't know about the distances, right?
Yeah,
So
the problem is
these
you
are things
can't
you gotta
really
look at.
transmit the power. I mean, if you can get an agreement with PSC&G for net metering, and I don't know that's offered you through RFPs and stuff, but if there's a net metering arrangement, yeah, then you can produce power here and offset it to highway, like we do with solar.
Bill Falk and I have had very specific conversations about the town of Riverhead, and he is on board with net metering for other sites that you guys have. So he is very supportive of that. So
You said earlier, like, maybe we use 60%, maybe you could use the other 40% for the police department?
Correct.
Sending it over there?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely. Ken, I want to come back to you and finish some of your question. 2 to 3 days on the construction piece by itself. Now, if I go to soup to nuts, we're probably talking 10 months, 11 months, all in, because we've got to do the interconnection. We've got to get permitting from the AHJ, which I'm not sure if that would technically be y'all or if it would have to go through the county. Either way, it's fine. And then the unit has to be built and delivered, and it's got to be tested for 200 hours before delivery. So I could probably have units here. I could have a unit here. Let's say we all said we were getting married today and everybody said I do, and let's go, right? We could have that probably October, November, unit here installed, get it commissioned. By the first of the year, you could be up and running if we started today, ballparkly speaking.
6 months, really.
Yeah,
Thinking,
not 10.
Not 10 months.
I like to be a little conservative, so give me some wiggle room.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you said you're utilizing this at other locations in Suffolk County. Where were they again?
So there is a hydrogen fuel cell that is going in at the Northport Power Plant. Am I saying that right, Jack?
You got it.
I got it, finally.
The Northport Power Plant, the cogen plant.
I'm still learning my way here around the island and getting caught up with y'all's linkity-dee.
Covenant now reworld?
It might be, no, because it's not a ash to trash.
It's not the reworld facility?
No.
And then NYU Lagone, the East Patchogue location is going to be powered by these generators. And that's the hospital.
So you've arrived in New York.
But they won't be there for like another 18 months because they have to build the facility first.
Okay.
One other consideration we're gonna have to make is what arrangements we have with CVE Solar and make sure that we don't have with the.
We can apply that to
Yeah, we
another
have to just
facility.
review that. We have a solar project at our landfill that we have some agreements on.
Is that installed and running?
Offsets on, yeah, since they're getting ready to start up, they'll be starting up this summer, 5 megawatts.
Construction's been in progress.
They're
But
wrapping
again,
up,
we
but we
can,
have some, because we have some offsets. Some of that power is gonna offset the rate for our electric bills. So we have
Right,
to look
but
at
when
that
you
to
say-
make sure we're not
When you say our electric bills, they could put it on any one
Yes.
of our facilities.
Yeah, they can. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, we should look at that, make sure we're not.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, we gotta look at, we
Yeah.
talked about that earlier on, and when we first sat down, that was one of the first things we talked about was, well, we got solar getting ready to come online from our landfill, so it was a great, that was Councilman Kern, great use of that property up there. But, you really just look at the savings, so you don't go, we wouldn't say, if the numbers are what they are, you don't say no to this project because you're saving a little bit over there. You apply those savings from the landfill to some of our other town facilities. You're going to take whatever is the greatest savings in the long run.
All right, could you also talk a little bit about the maintenance? We had a brief meeting and we talked about, there is a, maintenance process every 30 days that requires that the carbon seals be replaced in the units, which kind of made me think more towards a lease than an outright buy, because you're the only people that make those seals, is that correct?
So Mainspring is not the only one. So Mainspring third-party sources its graphite rings. So it's not like you have to go through Mainspring. What Mainspring does so think of this 20-year guarantee that's here, right, that we talked about earlier. This is a true bumper-to-bumper warranty, right? So think about it, if you're buying a car, that doesn't cover the windshield wiper fluid, that doesn't cover the tires or the battery or whatever, right? This is true bumper-to-bumper warranty for the next 20 years. So if the door falls off, the inverter goes out, piston goes out, whatever, as long as it's being maintained by Mainspring and their O&M agreement, then you are covered. You don't have to do anything. There is no extra tax or time on staff unless you want it to be.
And those maintenance costs are reflected in the numbers you're showing.
Included in the cash flow.
Just so to clarify that.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
So all you gotta do is sit in your lawn chair and watch it run.
So you guys, your company comes out every 30 days and does the graphite ring replacements?
And then so a couple other things with that.
You have a local presence all the time?
Yes.
Where at?
Jersey. Yeah, and it will expand here promptly.
Well, based upon the hospital and the power plant.
Correct. That's exactly right. So, so there's a couple of things that go with that that are really important. So in Menlo Park, I've got about 30 people that all they do is sit at computers all day and stare at machines. So it's 24-hour monitored, right? And this is cutting edge technology, so it's full of AI. And it can identify problems before they happen, and they will have somebody deployed there same day to address that problem, whether it's middle of the night, whether it's during the day, on the weekend, Memorial Day, whatever. You will have somebody there to address the issue before it becomes an issue. So they recognize it because they're taking constant readings, and they'll create an algorithm that with your machine and how you use your machine, and as it learns to throttle up and throttle down when City Hall is not really being used at night, so you don't use as much power at night, so it'll slow itself down a little bit. And when everybody gets in here at 6 in the morning, this thing goes back up, it'll start to ramp back up. So it'll learn. It's like a Nest thermostat, the way that it works when you're using your power. So anyway, they identify it. They'll know before you know, and they'll have somebody here because that's part of their guarantee is
Remotely monitoring it.
we're nonstop monitoring it. Yeah. So, and then I would personally invite each and every one of you June 17th in Linden, New Jersey. We're doing a site walk with several other folks through here in Suffolk County to showcase some of these generators that are in live time. It's on a cold storage facility. So I personally welcome you as my guest. Come down, take a look at them. They're not much to see when you get there, but they're a lot to see when you get there. It'll take you about 5 minutes, and then you're going to see it, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is really cool, great, love it. I can sit here and have a normal conversation. Just like I showed you in the video, you can hear the gravel from my feet. They don't make noise. You can go down there and stick your head in the exhaust if you want to. You're not going to have any problems. I mean, you can feel it, lick it, touch it, taste it, do all the good things you want to do with it, and visit with the folks on site for what they're using it for, and get their firsthand experience for how these machines work. So,
What are they using it for?
cold storage.
Oh,
There
that's
you
smart.
yeah. So what they did. So this is fascinating the way they structured it. They do it for load shedding in the summer to help keep the facility cool and reduce the electric costs. They don't need a lot of electricity in the winter, so they shut them off in the winter, and then as it starts to ramp up and get hotter, so the machines have been on since about the 1st of April, and they'll run them all the way until October, November.
So maybe you could do a virtual setup too, and in case we can't get to Linden, New Jersey? Is it just possible somebody can walk around with it?
I can record it.
That's great.
Jack, go and record everything for us.
I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, we were in, so just to give you all some color, the reason we were in Lathrop, California last week, to see that site, City of Oroville in California, we had their entire city council there and their city manager was there. And they were there specifically because they've created their own utility for their town. So they're going to be their own utility provider for their town and provide utilities, which is what that group, they've already set up and done. And so now they're a utility provider for the city of Oroville, and that's the technology that they're going to move forward.
You guys ever set up on your own, like in an industrial park, a facility where you become the utility for the industrial park?
No, sir. We've not set up that way. We've run industrial parks, absolutely,
No, that,
but not being the utility, no.
You don't want to be behind that and capturing. I'm just curious. And so I know with with battery storage, when you need X amount of power in the line to send it back, right? Is it the same with your situation? Okay. Because if you can do it at, okay, kind of figured that. I just wanted to be sure.
One of the things that was attached to us was you said it was a sole source, and so proprietor, and so I wasn't sure, do we need to RFP this to make sure I understand you're saying this is our technology, this is one alone, just do it right. I just want to have that conversation. I don't know if we want to have that later.
We did discuss the potential of having to do an RFP.
That's correct.
You can explain that a little bit, but we did talk about it, yeah.
Right.
So
we submitted the sole source letter that has been used here in New York specifically for these generators. It references the New York's law, it's 103, to procurement policies. So,
Section 103?
right.
Yeah.
So there's nobody else with this technology.
Well, then there's no competition.
Well, that's what, when you're putting out the RFP, you're specifically stating that this is what we want, and we want to confirm the exact same savings, but obviously there's only one product, and you're the product.
That's correct.
That you provided, so, but it's a good question, in terms of just making sure that we're.
Yeah, well, it may be a different technology. I just wasn't sure if we should look at different, you know what I mean? Like making sure that we're doing our due diligence on that. So yeah, it's just a question.
Yeah, just to share that with you, there is another linear generator company that's coming. They're 5 years from hitting the market right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mainspring's been around for about 15 years. To give you all a little color on this, it's a fascinating story.
I don't want to speed you up, but we do have to go to executive session at 11. So we can always adjourn and come back to you. I don't want to cut you short. I just don't want to, closer to that, say that. But we do need to be on.
You're good.
So go ahead.
So this was a Stanford PhD student's PhD project, is what this was. Mainspring.
That was initially developed?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then she has expanded it and grown it through investors and now has roughly 750 megawatts across the country on the grid.
So how many units is that?
Let's see, 100 megawatts is 400 units, so whatever. 3,000. Yeah. And then if we needed to, we can bring anybody from the town. We can take them to Menlo Park to the R&D facility. We can have it broken down, let you see it, get into the machinery, and get a really hands-on approach. If y'all want to get super technical with it, we can arrange for that as well.
So just to conclude, if you could go back to the initial savings, and we've talked about EPA has no issues concerned, there's no gas in it. It's not.
Hold that thought.
Tell me about
EPA, you just mentioned them. They do not have a measurable test for the emissions on this machine.
Because it's so low.
Correct.
And the cooling, it's not pulling water out of anywhere. Tell me about the cooling again, so we're not going down into our aquifer, so we're environmentally, you're completely isolated.
I need no water, I need no oil, I need no lubricant, I need no transmission fluid. It's all air bearings. They compress the air, creates the air bearing, and that's the way it works.
So interesting that the governor wants to get rid of natural gas in New York, and here's a facility, here's a device that utilizes it with no negative output.
We'll stay there for a second. So let's go back to Veterans Memorial Park for just a second, right? Let's say we don't want to stomach $800,000 running a gas line over that building, right? I can put propane there and run it on propane. It's still going to be significantly lower than what you're spending right now, and have propane delivered every day if you want.
No, I'm not against natural gas. Don't get me wrong. I said the governor. I'm not the governor. You know.
But I can do propane. I can do
You're much better looking, Councilman.
I can do propane. I can do propane. I can do natural gas. I can do hydrogen. I can do methane. I can do ammonia. It runs on several different fuel sources. So it's a.
I have your card. I will follow up with you on a couple of other things to discuss with you. And we're going to get a copy. I'm sorry. We're going to get a copy of this presentation. Do we have it?
Yes.
Okay.
I see that.
Yeah, it's right here. You got it in front of you. It's all here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's under this.
I don't know, Teresa's here. Do you, any questions, or Ken Testa, just before we?
Well, as the supervisor brought up, my concerns are us, just, I'm the purchasing director. I had not seen your letter prior to it being put on this agenda. So.
You can come up if
I
you
know
want.
my name's on it. But...
Teresa, you have to come up to the table and speak.
Oh, that's right.
Right here.
Yeah. Because people are going to think you're a ghost.
Hi, how do you do? Nice to meet you. So, prior to seeing the agenda for today's meeting, I had not even seen your letter or heard of you or anything. So I was a little surprised by that. But my concerns are, although you have a proprietary product and you're the only guys out there, as you said, there are other companies and there are other technologies, and we, I think for the point of the State Controller's Office, that we need to do a due diligence and put an RFP out, not only looking for maybe a number of different, putting it out there and saying, this is what our objective is, and allowing companies to make presentation, and then reviewing all of them.
And any concerns, questions? I know you had.
I kind of, along the same lines, wouldn't a fuel cell be a competing product to do the same kind of thing, generate electricity with no emissions and use natural gas? So, the product is proprietary.
Yes, so there are other technologies out there that are very different from this one, right? However, they don't have the performance guarantees. They don't have the shelf life. So you get into some of this other stuff that's out there. You've got a 7 or 8 year shelf life that's on them, and they're going to be more expensive from a product standpoint.
What about from a savings standpoint, just to, address the concerns up here?
That's what an RFP would probably tell you.
So
yes.
You brought up the big hot topic around most communities in this country, data centers, right? And so we see this other technology that's there that people are using in various forms, trying to get those things to. But the cost savings from the linear generator is superior.
And to Ken's point, it would come out in an RFP. And I don't know who, that's which can be done.
It sounds like you're far superior than other,
Yeah.
Potential products are out there, but there's nothing wrong with proving that.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. I think that's
So.
I think it was a good presentation.
Yeah, definitely impressed with the numbers, with the savings.
Excuse me, Joe, I have one question. Do we get climate smart points for this?
I would think so.
Yeah, actually, hey, guys, before we depart, 8,044 tons of carbon saved, 19 million miles driven, and 126,000 trees planted are saved from this project.
Well, thank you for your presentation.
Very quickly, you should pay a visit to the sewer district, because we have our own sewer plant, and we generate methane gas on a sludge digester, and they have a huge electrical load.
They have a digester too, and I can plug that digester into my machine and.
Suck out the methane.
Absolutely, I'm doing that at a dairy farm.
Yeah, I'm
doing that in the dairy farm in western New York, where they're gonna use the cow farts to power the entire dairy. It's about $500,000 a year in electricity.
Fabulous.
We have seen, as we believe too, that National Grid is starting to lock in their prices too. They're offering that over the next year to certain things, so that gives us real stable numbers over time. But I think this is what we need to continuously do, is to look towards alternative energy sources just here, as well as, all of our town properties and town facilities. The ultimate goal is to save the taxpayer money, and so we got to start opening up the doors. I really appreciate you coming in. I know you flew all the way out from Texas, and thank you very much for times. You've done it multiple times. I've tried to keep hitting you with a lot of questions and trying to find like where's the fault here, and I haven't found it. And I think you got a great product that's really interesting. And we're going to continue to work and go through it. And we'll meet with Teresa and talk about RPs, whatever's necessary to take the pathway. But I think it's a great potential, and we'll sit down and encourage each one of my town board members to reach out to Walt and talk and keep an ongoing conversation. We got to save the taxpayers' money.
Real quick, guys, my phone and email are on the business cards that I left you. Use me and abuse me. You got a question, pick up the phone, call me. I'm happy to discuss.
I'm just really glad to see that, I hope it all works out, because, Long Island, New York has kind of been back about 30 years in all kinds of ways. And I think this is really, this is technology that's coming in the future, and I'm a technophobe. I don't care what project it is, we've got a plan for, because everything, as you know, in this space is happening very quick.
Correct.
So, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Can you just say oil one more time? Oil.
He's from Texas.
You change your own oil?
Well, it run on oil.
Proset, or what'd you run?
Say what?
Proset?
We ran an RPO, the route tree from Run and Shoot.
Oh, and while we're doing that, just our board, we need to move expeditiously, so if we could get a first and second to move into executive session, we need to discuss matters surrounding update on litigation between Town of Riverhead and URT with our assessor's office, and our legal matters surrounding possible sale of real property. The first again? First?
Aye.
I'll move, everyone in favor? Aye. Thank you. See you next week.